Hi, my name is Nalaila Azwa binti Rosan with metric number F18A0123. Today, I would like to present my research project on garlic-infused olive oil as meat preservative to control microbial spoilage. Research background. Allium sativum or garlic is usually known for its usability as a flavoring in cooking to enhance the taste of the cuisine. Besides, garlic also uses in the medicinal world since it has properties such as antibacterial, antimicrobial, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory. But did you know that these properties of garlic also can be used as food preservatives, especially in preserving meat? Before, Nurwantoro et al. Did meat preservation using crushed garlic, and Mancini et al. Also done meat preservation by using garlic powder, and they did not commercially introduce it to people yet. However, when the meat is marinated with crushed or powdered garlic, it does not absorb the marinade well. This condition might reduce the effectiveness of garlic as food preservative. Of course, nowadays, there are natural preservatives like salt and sugar, and chemical preservatives like sodium benzoates, sodium nitrate, and sulfur dioxide. But these preservatives could lead to health problems if consumed in high amount. Problem statement. Malaysians are among high meat consumers around the world. Malaysians usually buy the meat when they are about to cook meat-based dishes as the locals wanted to keep the meat fresh. Unfortunately, fresh meat only stands for 5 to 6 days if refrigerated. Leftover meat that is not used will be a waste, and food waste leads to the emission of greenhouse gases. Therefore, in this study, natural meat preservative, which is garlic, will be used to observe the garlic extract abilities to conserve the meat so it can be kept for a longer time. Objectives. The objectives for this research are first, to determine the antimicrobial and antioxidant properties of garlic-infused olive oil on the meat. Secondly, to observe the color change when the meat preserves with garlic-infused olive oil. And lastly, to examine the process of slowing down the deterioration of the meat. Hypothesis. The null hypothesis for this research is the preservation of meat with garlic-infused olive oil did not reduce the bacterial spoilage of meat. Meanwhile, the alternative hypothesis is the preservation of meat with garlic-infused olive oil reduced the bacterial spoilage of meat. Meat spoilage. Meat is categorized as perishable food which has a short shelf life, spoils quickly, rots, or becomes unhealthy to eat. The factor that eases the spoilage of meat includes high nutrient content that allows for rapid microbial growth, autolytic enzymes that present in the meat, high water activity and pH, and considerable amount of fat and lipids in the food. But microbial growth always is the one that causes the spoilage of food products. Meat color change. The redness of meat usually determines its freshness. The redness of meat occurs when myoglobin, a protein found in meat, contacts oxygen. It transforms into oxymyoglobin, which produces a bright red color. The meat color also turns to brown if the meat is exposed to air and light for a long time. Antimicrobial properties of garlic. This is why garlic is suitable as a meat preservative. Garlic contains a bioactive ingredient which is allicin that could act as an antimicrobial. By crushing the clove of garlic, allicin is transformed to allicin by the enzyme allinase. The allicin in garlic was found in 1944 by Cavalito and his colleagues when they tried to determine the cause of antibacterial activities in crushed garlic. The antimicrobial activity of garlic is shown to affect a broad range of gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria such as E. coli. The allicin will help to inhibit the growth of these bacteria. Antimicrobial and antioxidant properties of olive oil. Olive oil was formed before 4000 BC. It has phenolic components that act as antibacterial, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory. The hydroxytyrosol and tyrosol in olive oil exhibit substantial antibacterial activity against many strains of bacteria. The antioxidant of olive oil also inhibit lipid oxidation in meat. The spread plate method. The correct spread plate method can yield recognizable and isolated bacterial colonies that are uniformly distributed and countable throughout the plate. The principle of this method is it includes spreading a small number of bacteria suspended in solvent over an agar plate with a smooth sterilized spreader. Methodology. Now, for the methods, the extraction of garlic started with 95 grams of garlic were used. The garlic was peeled and cut into smaller pieces with knife. The garlic then was crushed with a food processor. The crushed garlic was heated over medium heat with 500 ml virgin olive oil and was placed in a closed jar, was let cool at room temperature and kept in refrigerator. For meat preparation, meat samples were cut into 12 pieces weighing 10 grams each. The meat was divided into two groups, namely 6 pieces for homogenization and 6 pieces for color testing. Sample A acted as control sample. Sample B was coated with garlic-infused olive oil at 25% of the meat weight. Sample C was coated with garlic-infused olive oil at 50% of the meat weight. The sample was refrigerated for 12 days and homogenization was done on day 6 and day 12. Next, quantification of microbiome. 10 grams of meat is homogenized with 19 ml 0.1% peptone salt solution and dilution factor of 10 to the power of -4 and -5 was plated 0.1 ml on agar medium. The cereal dilution was spread on the agar plate using the spread plate method. Then, the agar plate was incubated at 37 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. The color change test. The color change was performed with C-lab chromometer. Total color change was determined using the formula proposed by Sharma and Bala, which was measured in delta E. Lastly, the analysis of the data was done using one-way ANOVA, Duncan test, and t-test. The color change test was expressed in delta E. Result and discussion. It was found that on day 6, there was no significant difference between all samples. On day 12, there was a significant difference between sample A and B compared to sample C. It was also found that there was no significant difference between microbiome count on both day 6 and day 12. The microbiome counts for meat samples with formulation decreased as the storage time increased at 10 to the power of -4 dilution factor. Samples B had the lowest microbiome count on day 6 compared to samples A and C, which had almost similar microbiome counts. The number of microbiome increased slightly in sample B on day 12. However, sample C showed a decrease in the microbiome count at day 12 despite having a high number at day 6. As stated by Sharma, in her study, the garlic extract was able to perform antimicrobial properties on meat since the garlic extract killed the E. coli and Salmonella in chicken meat. In addition, allicin in garlic and also tyrosol in olive oil that act as antioxidant prevent the lipid oxidation of the meat to slow the meat rancidity. There was no significant difference between sample A and sample B compared to C on day 6. It was also found that there was no significant difference between sample A and C compared to sample B on day 12. Besides, there was a significant difference between microbiome count on both day 6 and day 12. The number of microbes increased as storage time increased. The microbiome counts increased rapidly in sample A, B, and C. The increase in bacterial count from day 6 to day 12 may be due to the meat's deterioration, where the garlic extract and olive oil concentration were too few to kill the microbes grown on meat. After all, sample B had the lowest microbiome count among other samples. The amount of garlic used affected the microbiome growth, where too much garlic-infused olive oil led to more microbiome growth. Thus, moderate amount was preferable depending on the meat's weight. Table 4.3 shows the result of color test on meat sample. There was no significant difference between A and B compared to L on day 6. Meanwhile, there was a significant difference between LA and B on day 12. Sample A was lighter, less red and less yellow on day 6 than day 12. Sample B was lighter, redder and less yellow on day 12 than day 6. Meanwhile, sample C was lighter, less red and slightly yellower on day 12. Positive value of L, A and B indicate the meat's color. More positive means the meat is lighter, redder or yellower. L value increase in all samples showed that the sample has less myoglobin. A value decrease in sample A and C due to leuconostoc SP produce hydrogen peroxide oxidized nitrosomyochronogen, thus led to low myoglobin concentration. B value decrease in sample B showed that Pseudomonas might present in the sample. Less oil formulation seemed to be not effective towards those bacteria. For color change, sample C with 50% garlic-infused olive oil has the lowest color differences, signifying that the formulation may prevent higher color contrast. In conclusion, null hypothesis that indicate the preservation of meat with garlic-infused olive oil did not reduce the bacterial spoilage of meat was accepted for the microbial count at 10 to the power of -4 dilution factor and was rejected for the microbial count at 10 to the power of -5 dilution factor. Moderate amount of garlic-infused olive oil in proportion with meat's weight could reduce the bacterial number. Next, the higher the amount of garlic-infused olive oil, the lower the color contrast. In short, sample B able to lower the bacterial number, while sample C able to preserve the meat color. That's all my presentation on my research project titled Garlic-Infused Olive Oil as Meat Preservative to Prevent Microbial Spoilage. Thank you.